Good afternoon, guys. It's Dana Alexander here with Prestige Dog Grooming School and the Everyday Pet Groomer. I just wanted to pop on and give you guys my best tips for clipping down very pelted, matted dogs. I know this can be a challenge for a lot of us. Just a quick little chat about how I handle these ones. If we're talking about pelted mats, like almost impossible to save the coat type of thing, pelted all over the whole body, I do not elect to try and save any of the hair. So again, I'll repeat that. If it's completely pelted, matted, even if it's the coat type that it might loosen up a little bit, I select to just shave it, because a number 10 or a 9 underneath that, you're just cutting that little tiny bit of new hair growth. So it's just the fastest, easiest. I like to use my wall 5-in-1s just because the blade doesn't get hot and it's just easier on the dog and me. And for me, if I'm going to have to pre-shave a dog, I want to do the haircut as well as I possibly can, so that when I bathe the dog and come back, I only have to do little touch-ups. Because for me, I don't like to do a dog's haircut twice. So that's just the way I think about it. If I've got a matted dog that I think I can save the coat and it's not going to be inhumane for the animal, then I do select to bath and blow dry that dog first and then demat. So those are my two options. I used to be one of those groomers in the past that I would try and save anything. And, I would try and get a 4-blade through it. I would try it with a skip tooth. I would try all these different things. But eventually I realized that, one, the pet parent doesn't notice a huge amount of difference between a couple millimeters, a 4 and a 10. We're talking like 5 to 7 millimeters difference. And the reality is, in a month, the dog's going to be that length anyways. 2, it takes way longer, way more time, and your risk factor goes way up. As soon as you start using skip tooth blades, your risk factor goes up. As soon as you start trying to force a 4-blade through or a 5-blade through, your risk factor goes up. None of which is a good option for me. So that's why I now come to 2 choices. Either shave the dog and do one nice smooth haircut and start over and get the owner on a maintenance program, or I'm at the stage where I'm able to save the coat, and that's what I do. So those are kind of my choices. We did have a doodle. Let me just show you guys quick. We did have a doodle in today. There she is, who had the kind of tangly mats that are just not super bad, but we bathed and dried her. And then the owner didn't want to pay for dematting. We could have, but so we elected just to do a kennel 4 on her. So in that case, we can, because the 4 goes through easily and we are able to bathe and dry her. So in that case, I do choose a 4. But if I'm talking about very matted, I either have 2 options: demat it and safely and humanely, or if that's not an option, for me, it's a strip down, and I do one very nice haircut in a 10 or a 9, as smooth as I can, as well done as I can, so that once I bath and dry, I'm only touching up and sending home. So that's why I don't pre-shave a ton of dogs, bathe, dry, and then do another haircut. I don't like to do 2 haircuts on a dog for time-saving purposes. Anyways, we're going to get right into this. We have a little Bichon Shih Tzu mix here. She's very, very matted. You can see we're like the really pelted, felted mats. My students misunderstood me and actually bathed this dog and attempted to dry her. So she was actually 10 times worse than this. So we actually have lifted some areas a little bit, but generally I would have pre-shaved her. They just misunderstood me. So by the time she was already wet, it was kind of too late. But this is a dog I would have elected to pre-shave. So I'm going to show you my best tips and tricks to get through these guys quick and easy. I see groomers all the time struggling to get through the legs and stuff. So I'm going to show you guys how we do that. Let me just switch cameraman here and we'll get started. Okay, so like I said, I'm going to use my wall 5-in-1 clippers. I'm going to set them to number 10 in this case. And this dog, I am used to her. She's a dog that comes in once a year and gets stripped down. So yes, I charge a lot of money for this, but her owners still rather get her groomed once a year than have her nicely maintained. Don't ask me why. That's, tell me guys, Why owners do this, I don't know, but that is what it is. So the first step is always to find a place to start. Find a place that's to the skin. Since they did blow dry her first, we are able to find a place. If you had a very matted dog and you couldn't find a place to start, you can hit it with your force dryer, just split it up a little bit, and then you've got a place to start. But otherwise, I like to start right in the skull, right where the ear is attached to the head. Usually you can find a place to start there. This case, I'm gonna start at the back legs because they're usually very hard for people to get off, and I wanna show you guys that. So again, we're trying to cut that little tiny couple millimeters of fresh hair growth underneath the mats. And this is how we're gonna come quick and easy. I like to split them up as I go along. And I'm doing a nice steep angle and as nice a haircut as I possibly can because I don't like to go back and redo my haircuts. That's another reason I choose a 10 over say a 7. Because in this case, I'm not gonna do miracles or a bunch of extra favors for an owner who's bringing me a dog like this. Let's do what's best and humane for the animal. So as it comes off, and I'm just gonna work in tiny sections as I go in a very steep angle. That's the key. Remember, with a lot of mats, you only have a couple, maybe even 1 millimeter to be able to cut between the mat and your fresh skin. And this is why I don't select to go with a 4-blade. So now I'm getting a little bit stuck. So a lot of groomers just keep trying to go at this point. What I do is I actually start to come around the bum and I release the groin first. So if you can get the groin off, everything else comes off easier because everything's attached under there. So that's the problem. So I'm coming around the bum. I'll show you guys here in a second. And now I'm going to come up and lift these guys gently, guys, because the fact is that all these mats are attached and she's very, very matted in this groin. So again, I'm gonna find a place I can start. There's kind of a mat here that I know I can get under. Sorry, I know it's hard to see, guys. So I'm gonna come in very gently. Again, the 10 blade's a perfect option because it's sharp. I don't have to go against the skin. And I'm gonna start coming right down the other side of her other leg. If you can get the groin released, then you're gonna have a much easier time getting the outside of the leg released. This is always a key thing that I do to release mats. Even if you've got the ones that are completely felted all the way around. I know not a lot of groomers see those, but a lot of groomers do. You know, I'm in a very rural area, so I still see dogs like this. But I don't see a lot anymore because I do charge a lot, but I do get the odd one in. Again, I'm gonna come back and touch anything up because I want this groom to be as perfect as possible. This is extremely tight here. So again, I'm gonna steepen my angle up and in and out, and in and out. Again, because we're selecting that 10 blade, we're able to just cut that very little bit of hair growth so we're not having to dig against her skin and do crazy things. Now I'm gonna come up and try and release this leg here. Same thing. Just coming and notice just the little tiny sweeping motions. Shaving these dogs should be a very simple, slow process. It shouldn't be digging and grabbing and pulling, and that's again why I select not to go with a longer blade. I'm just gonna let you guys see the inside here. I'm gonna release the groin and the inside of the back leg. It's always gonna help you be able to get the outside when you're struggling with that. And little strokes, in and out, in and out. Get stuck, out, stuck, out, stuck, out. It's slow and steady wins the race. And plus, I want to go at that nice steep angle so I'm getting a perfectly smooth cut. And then I'm also going back over and making sure it's just perfect. Because again, I don't want to do 2 haircuts. If I'm going to pre-shave a dog, it's for this situation. And in this situation, I don't want to have to, after she's bathed and dried, come back and do another haircut on her. So I see this happens to a lot of groomers. They clip through, but they still got this felt. So that you need to steepen your angle and come back. See how it starts coming under the felt then? So I see a lot of groomers. You guys that shave a lot of these dogs know what I'm talking about. You gotta really, really steep to get under the felt. See how steep my angle is? and coming in, okay? Now that I've released the groin, I can come back to the front. And now I'm gonna finish off her front leg. If you guys have questions, feel free to ask. We can answer them live.
We're asking about the brand of clipper it is again.
I'm using a Wall Barretto.
Barretto, guys.
Wall Barretto. This one is from their barbering line. I just really like the shape. So she's kind of sensitive here, so I'm just gonna hold the whole knee, and that way I've got a nice good place to hold. And then again, that steep angle. But because I release the whole inside, all this comes off really easily. But I see a lot of groomers struggle with the legs on these very matted dogs. And again, I'm gonna get these feet as steep as I can because I want them to be almost perfect. I don't wanna redo my haircut when she comes out of the bath. So I'm gonna lightly touch it up here. So that's one leg. I'm gonna show you guys a front leg as well. Come here, girl. And this is a very nice
hair. There's some of the hair that came off.
This nice girl. She's a really nice dog. She's getting up there in age, but she's...
Brittany asks, what's your favorite cordless clipper? Is it the one you're using now?
It is my favorite. Yes, I do like the Wall Barretto. I'm just gonna get her to sit.
How much do you typically charge when you have more when you have to more shave? Amanda's asking.
So if I have to pre-shave a dog like this, then to me, a minimum double what I would charge. So like my Shih Tzu's around 65 here in my area, and so I would charge double, you know, at least double. But I really don't take a lot of these guys because a lot of times I charge more than that. In fact, in this area, myself and another groomer, we actually charge the owner a full year's worth of grooming a lot of times. This dog I have a personal attachment to. Never get things personal. That's when you make stupid choices. And I'm saying that as in my own experience because I charge double for this dog, but I just love this dog. I do preach to you guys not to let things get personal. It is business, not charity. But in this case, I totally failed because I love this dog. She used to board with me all the time when she had a different owner, so I have an emotional attachment to this dog.
Jane is asking, would you have a second set of clippers for dirty pre-shaves?
I don't do any dirty pre-shaves. I only pre-shave if it's in this circumstance, which is it's too matted to be saved. And I don't, if I choose that, I'm not going to try and get a 4 or 5 through. I'm going to do it safe and most humane for the dog and easiest for me. And also what I'm not going to have to do another haircut. So for example, let's say we chose to do a 7 blade on this dog instead. We could totally get a 7 through this. If I chose to do a 7 blade, this would be way rougher. And then I would have to send her to the bath, blow dry, and we'd have patchy, fuzzy stuff everywhere. And then I would have to do a whole second haircut on this dog. If I'm going to pre-shave, I'm not doing a second haircut because time is money. Time is absolutely money. Again, in this area, you want to come in, get what you can off, and then you need to release the rest of the groin. So I'm going to come in and get the groin up. So I do not pre-shave dogs unless I absolutely have to, like this case.
Yes, Ashley, a lot of groomers are now doing the full year of grooming if you're a once a year and you're like this.
Yeah.
Ashley says, best idea ever.
And it's not just us guys. Here's some big mats off of that dog.
There's her pelt.
If you guys don't know, but for example, I have one of our instructors is from Poland, and she frequently shows me posts from the Polish grooming groups. In the Polish grooming groups, they absolutely charge a year's worth of grooming. So for example, a shaved Newfoundland is 1,000 to 1,500 Canadian dollars in Poland. It's only in America that we are, Canada and America, that we are charging so little for this type of situation. And we are honestly, the ugly truth is that we are enabling owners to continue this behavior when we're charging cheap. We all have a heart. I am totally guilty of that with this dog in particular. We have a heart, so I love this dog. I have a personal attachment to her, so I'm only charging double. But the fact is I should be sticking to even my principles, which is a year's worth of grooming. Why does this dog, whose owner does not look after it, does not bring it in for grooming, get a 90% discount on grooming compared to all my other clients that come every 6 to 8 weeks. You're literally giving them a 90% discount. Why are we discounting owners who are not looking after their pets? We have, as groomers, we need to start owning the fact that we are part of the problem, and that is with the pricing. So, and this problem doesn't happen in other countries. It does in some countries, I'm not going to generalize, but there are definitely some countries like Poland, for example, or the Ukraine, where this is not a problem. And if a dog does come in a situation like this, they either charge a year's worth of grooming or the dog gets sent to the vet. But also, in a lot of these other countries, it's a privilege to own a dog. So it's a status symbol of money to own an animal. So they take very good care of their animals because it's a status symbol. So we have a different mentality of pets here than everybody owns one here. So it's a little bit more of a difficult situation. But still, we need to do our part and start to change the mentality so that we can help to influence change so we don't have this situation anymore. Because the reality is, if you can't afford to have a dog and look after it, and there's lots of options, there's lots of us groomers, if you can't afford to come more than every 4 months, well, you could get shaved down and your dog's gonna be in reasonable shape in 4 months. Like, we have to start making owners take responsibility for what they want. If they want a gorgeous long haircut and fluffy, that costs money or costs them a lot of time and maintenance at home. They can have what they want, it just costs money or time and maintenance, one of the two. So I'm not saying no to an owner and what they want, but we have to kind of meet in the middle and realize, it's not our dog, it's their choice what they want. I can't help if the owner wants it long and fluffy but doesn't want to pay or doesn't want to do the work at home. You can't have your cake and eat it too and have the animal stay in a nice shape and be well looked after. So, because this is not fair to an animal.
So Jessica's saying she does not charge for matted dogs.
And you're not alone, Jessica. There's a ton of people that do not charge for matted dogs at all. And I know what situation you're in. I've been there myself in the past. And it's just something, start small. Start with, for me, I think go big or go home. I would start with double, start to be an influence for change in your area. And you're not going to get these dogs anymore. That's what's going to happen. People will call. They'll say, that's crazy. I don't want to pay that. And they'll go somewhere else. But soon, your other grooming competitors are going to be like, why are we getting flooded with all these once-a-year dogs? And they're going to start to realize, oh, this groomer down the street only charges, she's charging double for dogs like this. Why am I not doing that? And then they'll start to do it. And that's exactly what's happened in my area. One groomer, a good friend of mine, started the once a year, the entire year of grooming's worth. So this little dog, we would charge, $500 Canadian. And it's spread. Now there's shops all over this area that do it. She was the first one, and now lots of shops do it. And it's honestly the best thing, because why are we discounting when we have fabulous owners who are constantly bringing their animals, but they don't get a discount? We're giving the discounts to the owners that don't look after their pets. So that's kind of my opinion about the whole thing.
Jane in Australia says she's on board with charging for the matted coats.
And it's a little scary at first, I get it, guys. Like I said, I'm totally guilty with this dog myself and having a personal attachment. I'm always teaching my students that you have to leave your personal feelings at the door. We have to love the animals, we have to care for them, but it's not personal. This is a service, a highly skilled service. It takes a lot of patience, a lot of love, a lot of kindness, a lot of heart, a lot of passion, and a lot of skill to do this job. That's why we have to charge. But charging is not personal. This is to help influence change. Because the fact is, we have to have owners take responsibility. This dog is in the owner's care 24/7, 12 months of the year. I only get to see them for an hour or two once a year. So it doesn't have anything to do with me what charges you've incurred over the year. And if every groomer did it, if every groomer charged an entire year's worth of grooming, we wouldn't see these dogs anymore. The only time we would see these dogs is coming out of a shelter situation or a hoarding situation.
Cheryl asks, does your blade get hot at this point?
No, because I'm using the 5-in-1. With the 5-in-1, and because I'm not working my blade through those mats because I chose to use a 10, I get to enjoy the not having all these issues. So that's how I release these dogs from these matted situations, is just a little bit at a time. Go for that little tiny bit of hair growth, and remember that charging is not personal. You're actually doing more for this animal by charging and influencing change in your area than you are by just constantly helping enable the problem. So just think about it. Just some little tips there, but release the groin areas, release your armpits to get the front legs, and do as nice a haircut as you possibly can on the pre-shave. That's gonna help you guys only have to do one haircut and just touch up after the bath. I got a client here, so I gotta run, but I hope those tips helped you guys out, and maybe just shoot a message about kind of you guys' thoughts, but maybe we can help to influence change everywhere, because there are groomers around the world that have got this right. We just gotta, we're not alone. So nobody's alone. So let's all gather together and support each other. I love you all, and have a good one. Oh, and by the way, we hit 10,000. Amazing, guys. 10,000 people that want to share and support each other in positivity. I absolutely love it. I'm blown away, guys. Blown away. Thanks again. Follow me on all my Instagram and everything. I think it's Dan_Alexander_Grooming Pro. And that's my Instagram. And just stay tuned. Thanks, guys.